Okay. And I feel like relationship is heavily the focus, as well as work and career. Are you where you need to be, and what do you need to do in order to change it? And is the grass greener? Do you need to look further afield? And is the grass always greener on the other side? You might realize that there might have been situations that you've always wanted, temptation outside of your current work, temptation outside of your relationship. And when you went for these things in the past, when you kind of like admire the greener pasture, even though you're very happy and stable where you are, you might have realized that it presented false promises. Things didn't get off the ground. There were a lot of delays. There were a lot of like grandiose ideas that never came to fruition. And so where you are right now, I do feel there is a sense of like, you wanting more out of life, but at the same time, it's like wanting more. Yes. Wanting excitement, wanting fun, wanting a change of scenery, wanting a change in people that you're surrounded by. But you are also holding very closely to the things that bring you that stability. It's almost like wanting something because it's stable, or staying in a situation because it's stable, despite not getting your practical needs met. Okay. You might be, for example, in a job situation where you feel like your contributions are not being appreciated. You're not getting adequate compensation, or the work environment itself, it's not very stable and structured, but it is safe. It's kind of like the devil that you know. And so staying in it, you feel like, this is, something that I've worked with. This is something I'm already familiar with. So staying here is not going to be detrimental to me. But at the same time, I do feel that you're being urged, you're being nudged to look at opportunities and to look kind of like branch out a little bit. Don't play it too safe. Okay. Because I do feel you are wanting excitement. You are wanting a lot more out of life. And you're at this point, you want to even shirk responsibilities because you're just like, this is not emotionally fulfilling for me. So I want something else. I want something more out of it. And I'm also sensing for many of you, it's like wanting things in the past to be a specific way. And so you stubbornly pushed ahead. That's what I'm sensing here. There might have been rules, regulations, people who you thought were too restrictive. Okay. They forced you to be a certain way. They forced you to be responsible. They forced you to take into practical, considerations. They really forced you to conform. And it wasn't you. It wasn't, what you believed in. It wasn't the way that you wanted to live. And I feel like many of you have taken a very, very rebellious stance. Okay. The energy is very Aquarian in nature. So I feel like you didn't want the confines of somebody else's expectation. You wanted to forge ahead, doing things your own way. You wanted to live life, I want to say, like with a lot more excitement, with less responsibilities, come and go as you like. And you, against, the opposition, you forge ahead. You did what you needed to do in order to create that freedom for yourself. And I'm sensing that in the process of doing that, it's not all what it seems. Okay. If it wasn't this person coming in to restrict you, it was somebody else. And so I feel like there was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of like, oh, if I only did this, my life is going to look a specific way. Then you started to realize that actually, even if I did it, my life is not going the way exactly that I wanted. So I do see we have some sadness and regrets. Sadness and regrets as it relates to things from the past that we did because we thought it was going to turn out a specific way. And I honestly feel like many of you have kind of, it's like you might have projected too much into it. And you thought it was going to bring a big sense of excitement. You thought it was going to bring a new start, a new beginning. And it didn't come the way that you wanted. It didn't bring stability. And I do sense for many of you, this is a partnership. Okay, like wanting to create something stable with another person. And it turns out the person might not be on board with you. And so we have here an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And I do feel this might have been like a relationship partner, male or female. They wanted, and you know, of course, sun, moon, or rising. You wanted things to be a specific way with them, and it turns out they were looking for something else. And I do feel you might have felt a little bit misled by this person. You might have a little bit of resentment that things didn't go the way that you initially thought. And so, you know, when we're dealing with the energy of another person, it's really important for us to understand as well that it takes two to tango. If the other person is not on board or they're not on the same page, you can talk to them till you're blue in the face, waste your breath, waste your time, waste your energy and your emotional investment, but they're not going to budge. So I feel like efforts feel a little bit thwarted. And so moving forward, I do feel like the energy is all about being appreciative of what you have. Okay. It's almost like telling you while you are speeding through life, you know, supersonic speed here, looking for new things, looking for new adventures, collecting new experiences. What you're really turning your back on is this place of abundance that many other people have provided for you. You know, the safety, the comfort, the prosperity as well. And so I do feel many of you have had this, where you didn't have to worry about, you know, where's my next meal coming from? Where am I going to crash tonight? How am I going to take care of myself? How am I going to pay my electricity bills? I feel like many of you were in a space that was very comfortable. It was very good. It was very stable, but you wanted more. And so you had to go out and pursue whatever it was that you thought could give you the freedom of movement, could give you the independence, could give you whatever it was that you thought more entailed. And what you're heading towards is basically this: a place where there was, you know, it didn't go the way that you wanted. It wasn't entirely stable. Okay. And I feel like many of you start to realize that, no, the grass is not always greener. And so I would urge you moving into, you know, the rest of this month, Libras, come back to this place where you appreciate and you give thanks to whoever that was around that gave you this abundance, that gave you this prosperity, that gave you this, I want to say like this space where you felt fulfilled. Okay, because I feel like while you were here, it seemed very mundane. It seemed very boring, not very exciting. And it could seem very restrictive, whoever it was. They couldn't, you know, it just didn't seem like it was stimulating enough. And you might have felt restricted, like your freedom to express yourself, your freedom to do whatever you wanted to do. But the environment provided you with a lot of discipline. Okay, and so what I do sense here, the last two cards, is this is a big, big, big reversal when it comes to the way that we think, the way that we approach a problem, or the way that we see things. It is a major eye-opening component that is going to be coming through for the month of October to see what you have been, you know, running away from and how to reorient yourself. So you're getting yourself to a place where things start going the right way. And I do feel the way that you have been thinking about things, assessing things, and kind of like playing, you know, out ideas or plans or vision out in your head, it needs to be changed and it needs to be transformed so that you know where you're coming from and you know where you need to head without doing anything so drastic that, you know, going one direction would eliminate the other choices. Okay, aim for a little bit more of that middle ground, moderation. The last message that I do want to end this on is, first of all, I'm feeling as if for many of you, I feel like there's some serious reassessment when it comes to work, when it comes to spending. Okay, this is a card about leisure. And this is a card about dealing with some type of financial up and down. You're not at a point where you can afford to be lavish, okay? You're not there just yet. And so this is really telling you How do you get from here to here? How do you become this, go back to this place of abundance? And if you're not putting in the hard work, how are you going to be able to make the money work for you? Okay. So I feel like many of you, you're very, very smart. You're incredibly smart. And you might want a shortcut. You might be seeking for a shortcut. You might be wanting to like double your income, for example. And so you might be jumping around looking for opportunities that will allow you to do that. And I feel like the opportunities, there might have been some interviews, there might have been, prospective opportunities coming through. But then we end up at a place where we feel like, are we skilled enough to get these jobs? The competition might be very fierce on the labor market, where you feel like, yes, I have the degree, yes, I have the experience, but other people are, it's like you're being outcompeted by other people. And so being very, very humble and appreciative, and to really, I guess like appreciate and understand that working from the ground up is the one sure way towards success, that there isn't really any shortcuts, that you might need to change your strategy in order to achieve what you want professionally, financially. Okay. And then at the same time, on that same note, I do feel here the energy that you're exhibiting, it keeps showing up as this. This is someone who's wildly popular, very exciting, very, dashing, courageous, and just goes around collecting life experiences. And so I feel like many of you are leaving a place of safety. You can't wait to start your new life. But with that new sense of independence, it comes with responsibilities, right? So I feel like we might have some younger people who are watching this, getting out from a home environment that you absolutely could not stand. There was a lot of instability. There was a lot of shakeup. There was a lot of moves. And so you're just like, okay, once I turn 18, I'm going to be balanced. I'm going to go out of here and I'm never going to look back. And the thing is, you wish for independence, but I feel like many of you really need to understand what independence really means. It basically means, being accountable for our actions. It basically means having to take care of ourselves. All the little things, the tedious things, cleaning our rooms, cleaning the bathroom, getting along with roommates, even though we might not like them. All of these things are coming in because that's what being independent really entails. It means being financially independent. It means being very responsible for what you say, being courteous, being really diplomatic. And it also means having to forego fun and excitement because of, work responsibilities that we need to cater to. So we really can't come and go as we want, even though you are seeking that space or that time where you can be very independent. I feel like the reality of what independence means is really going to dawn on you. And it's really going to force you to, you have to make sacrifices. You have to forego a few things in order to have that stability so that you can sustain your life. Okay. So I feel like you're looking at that new sense of independence as if it's everything that you've wanted. But the reality of it is going to hit you where responsibilities will pile up. You are going to have to take care of multiple things. And I feel like it's a learning experience. So it's not like I'm telling you, stop, don't do it. I feel that it just might not pan out the way that you're hoping for. But many of you are just anxious about starting it where you might have your blinders on and you might not see the potential pitfalls. So this month, I feel it is really important to reorient yourself, to really think about, best case scenarios and worst case scenarios. And in case worst case scenarios come into the picture, you're not blindsided and you're not at a loss for what you need to do. And I'm sensing some people, and this is a small minority of you guys, especially, I want to say like 40 and below that age group. Okay. I feel like in the past, whenever you got into a jam, somebody always bailed you out. And, you are somebody that, there was always a safety net And so I feel like moving in for this month, that safety net might not be there, and you're going to be kind of like forced to think on your toes. You're going to be forced to incorporate and really articulate, use all of your past knowledge, use all of your past experiences to get yourself out of situations. And it's going to be, a test of whether or not you are able to take care of yourself. So I do feel this is a major eye-opening month. It doesn't look to me to be bad, but I do feel a lot of you are aiming for more. And whether or not you're able to achieve more, I do feel it's contingent upon whether or not you're able to incorporate everything you've learned so far, everything people have taught you about, hard work, dependability, and things like that in order for you to get that next phase of your life.